Holy jumpin' Jesus Christmas shit. How can you not think that this is the greatest slasher movie ever made? So Friday the 13th, the final chapter, tells a story about Jason Voorhees getting up after a long night of resting, pretending like he was dead, killing a couple of doctors, and it goes back to Crystal Lake or the surrounding area to pick off another group of teenagers. Now, just like with my other reviews, I'm going to go into some little behind the scenes facts before I get into my likes and dislikes. And if you haven't seen my other reviews for Friday the 13th Part 1, 2, or 3, I will leave a link somewhere above my head for you to click on after this review. Then watch those and then come back to here. And if you're not a subscriber, consider doing so right now for more content like this. So let's talk about Friday the 13th, the final chapter. This is one of those franchises, along with other ones, that did the final chapter thing. Everybody does it. Saw did it, so on and so forth. I think even Children of the Corn did it. Omen 3, the final conflict. They always throw that final word in there, the final destination, and then they make multiple more. In this movie's case, a lot more. And it's always funny when you hear it, because it's never true. I can't think of a franchise where they said it was the final one, and it actually was. Can you name one? Let me know. So this movie was directed by Joseph Zito, who previously worked on The Prowler in 1981. I am not a huge fan of that. I've reviewed that movie already, back when I did my 31 Days of Horror in October, a couple years ago, and that movie's just very boring, so it's shocking. And he worked with Tom Savini in that movie, and that's why Tom Savini was brought onto this project. They already had a whole crew with Kevin Yeager involved before he was well known, but Joseph Zito fought for Tom Savini because they worked together and made all kinds of great effects for The Prowler, which is the only good thing about that movie to me, is the kills. This movie stars Corey Feldman and Crispin Glover, and Corey Feldman almost didn't get to be in this movie because people thought that he was too small to take down Jason. He was just a little too small. Could he even pick up that machete? Blah, blah, blah. But thank God they got him, because this is my favorite of the Tommy Jarvis trilogy, is Corey Feldman's version of Tommy Jarvis. And apparently Corey Feldman and Ted White, the oldest actor to play Jason and the oldest living Jason to date. He is 94 right now, still alive, still kicking it. They just weren't getting along apparently behind the scenes, Corey Feldman and Ted White, and when Corey Feldman is attacking Jason at the end, he has like 101 fever behind the scenes, like in real life, and he's like pale. I don't even think that's makeup. That's just Corey Feldman feeling like shit when he's killing Jason. One thing about this movie is that it actually gives us a first name for Pamela Voorhees. She was just Mrs. Voorhees, a friend of the Christies. Now she's Pamela. I also think that Corey Feldman's character Tom Jarvis, or Tommy Jarvis, is a clear reference, like a little homage to Tom Savini. He's a special effects kid. He's got all these masks, all these gadgets, and there's even a deleted scene where he has like a guillotine system that cuts off fingers. He is clearly little Tom Savini. Now, Ted White almost didn't play the part in this movie. I guess he used to work on like Western movies and double for like, John Wayne or whatnot. I'm not much of a Western movie guy, so I don't really know those people, but he turned down this role, but then did it, and he almost quit in the middle of shooting because there was a girl who almost died of hypothermia. The chick on the raft, Sam, when she's on the raft, she was freezing to death. They shot this in like the winter, and he said, if you don't get this chick a blanket and warm her up, I'm out of here. And it's a shame to find out that Ted White also turned down parts 5 and 6. He was offered to come back supposedly, and he turned them down, and I think he regrets it now. It would have been great to see him in part 5 and 6. Now, this movie was also going to have that final scare, that final dream sequence that parts 1, 2, and 3 had. They were going to carry that theme to this movie too, but they decided to cut it out, and thank God. What it was going to be was Mrs. Jarvis in a bathtub. Trish walks upstairs, she sees her body, and then Mrs. Jarvis's eyes turn white, kind of like a little wink and call back to The Prowler when the eyes turn white. So he's plagiarizing his own movie. And then Jason, with the wound in his face, pops up from behind and tries to kill Trish, and then she wakes up in the hospital bed. I'm glad they took that out because we don't need yet another dream sequence in 4 movies in a row. It's just redundant. Now, the death of Jason in this movie, there was multiple different ways that they were thinking of killing him. One was machete down the middle, cutting his head open, and then another one, suggested by Tom Savini, was that they were that Tom Jarvis's character would create some kind of microwave thing or some kind of thing that he would stick in Jason's head and it would cook his brains from like the inside and his head would explode, permanently destroying Jason. Good luck bringing him back from that. This movie was made for less than $2 million and it made about $33 million, so it still made a shit ton of money, and that's why we got like a whole bunch more. And this movie has like 20% on Rotten Tomatoes. Fuck Rotten Tomatoes. This movie deserves 100. When it comes to slasher movies, this is a quintessential slasher movie. It checks all the boxes and it does it perfectly. So let's get into it. Starting off with the negatives. There is no negatives. I have nothing bad to say about this movie. It is perfect when it comes to slashers. So, going into my positives, what do I have to say about this movie? First up, the open. It starts huge. It feels the most theatrical, big budget, even though the budget wasn't big. You got this big master shot, one take. It goes down. There's all these moving parts. There's cars going around. There's people walking, running through the frame. There's so much being done in this scene, and it's like all this choreography, and it just makes the film feel bigger than it really is. And I love the continuity in this movie. This one has the best out of all of them. It picks up like the moment, Jason's still there on the ground, axe in his face, in the same position, same location. They didn't rebuild that set. They didn't recreate it somewhere else. Nothing. They went to the exact spot that they went to in part 3, which is awesome that they pay that much close attention to detail and that they give a shit about the continuity. For a franchise that doesn't really give a shit, sometimes, with some of these other sequels, they really just ignore shit. He has hair, now he doesn't. It's just refreshing when it's like, finally, a director who's like, I want good continuity. They do change, the fingernails. He has like long fingernails overnight. How's that happen? But awesome. I like that little addition. It just makes him creepier. He has like fingernails like Jacob Goodnight and See No Evil. He just plucks your eyes out. He could if he wanted to. So yeah, the continuity, the open shot, the feel of it, the score by Harry Manfredini. I love the score in this movie, the way it's used. It's one of the best versions of the original score. They add a little bit. Just the way it's used, it's perfect. There's all kinds of boobs. You got the Doublemint twins. You got Sarah body double her ass in the shower. You got Sam, one of the hottest chicks in this franchise. You got all the black and white like porn that they're watching. Lots of boobs in this movie and sex. So A+ for that. You gotta have that. And this one has it in spades. The women are beautiful. The characters are hilarious. They're genuine. They're basically improving on set. I heard when they're like in the car talking about the computer. The computer don't lie. You broke up with BJ Betty. All improv, supposedly. And just the dialogue. Just between Ted, you want to give Teddy Bear a kiss, and Crispin Glover's character, Jimbo, their back and forth is hilarious. It's how guys would talk to each other. It just, the dialogue and the characters in this movie blow the other ones out of the water easily.
Hey, honey, you got a sister?
Like, you could add the dialogue and the characters of 1, 2, and 3 together, and they wouldn't amount to all these characters and just the way they talk. Even the girls. Like, there's a scene with Sarah and Sam talking to each other, and even that seems kind of real. And it just builds these characters up just enough. I mean, these movies aren't known for great character development, but at least they're trying a little bit in this movie. You got Sam, who bangs her boyfriend Paul to keep him around. And then he still is cheating on her. You got like a couple of love triangles going on in this movie. I just love the characters. This one stands out from the other ones when it comes to characters. You got a dog, you got twins, you got a freaking kid. I love that they added the brother-sister angle. We didn't really get that before. Now we got like a final boy and final girl together, Trish and Tommy, and they are a great duo at the end when they face off against Jason. I just love that. It always works in a movie, a horror movie especially. Like Child's Play 2 with Kyle and Andy. Just like here, you got Tommy and Trish, and it always seems to work when you have a older sister and younger brother duo fighting evil together. It always works. It always seems to be like the best movie. And then the atmosphere. It goes back to the rainy third act of part 1 and 2, and it looks eerie as fuck, the way they keep Jason in the shadows. He's always in the dark. He's always popping up. the way they shoot Jason in this movie and frame him, they just have him lurking around, the way they light him, it just all works. This is one of my favorite Jasons. I won't spoil if he's my number 1 or 2 or whatnot, because I will be doing a ranking of the Jasons, the Jason actors, the mask, the way they look on everything. I'm gonna rank everything. I can guarantee it. But Ted White, he's up there. Possibly my favorite Jason, and it's all due to not only Ted White and how he portrays Jason, but Joseph Zito and the cinematographer and how they shoot Jason in this movie and use this character. So yeah, I love that this movie doesn't have a fake out ending. You do get like the hinted ending, like what's to come is, Tommy evil. That was the original idea that Joseph Zito had in mind, because they were told this is it. There's not going to be another one. But he knew that they were probably bullshitting, so he decided to make his ending where the next one, if they wanted to make one, would be Tommy killing. But we all know that didn't really happen in part 5. And I wish they would have went that direction. It would have been interesting. I also love just Jason's look in this movie. It's like part 3, but they add little things, they tweak things. One, the mask, a couple of the things, the little chevrons, they fall off by the end of it. It's gone. It's more yellow. It's more aged. His outfit looks aged too. Like, he just looks grittier and meaner looking. The nails, his hands are black. I like this look of Jason better. He's more human looking in this one, not so like grotesque and whatnot. And the face of Jason under that mask is one of my favorite looks of Jason. It's the closest thing to what he looked like when he was drowning in the lake as a kid. So the look of Jason under the mask, awesome. The kills. In this movie, the kills compared to 1, 2, and 3, the best. The brutality of them, the creativity of them, the way they're shot. They do cut some a little too short, but that's the MPAA. They even fucked with this movie, but awesome. I don't even think Jason uses a machete. You get a little callback kill with, Kevin Bacon, the girl on the raft. This one also has the best pace. Like, this movie just flows so damn well. There's not a dry moment at all. It just flows so well. It's very even paced. And I love that the opening recap is like 3 minutes long, and this opening recap is the best. Because it's like a compilation, like best hits of like 1, 2, and 3. It's all the critical moments, and it actually is put together very well. Whereas parts 2 and 3, they just show like the last 3-4 minutes of the previous movie. It's not like a cut together thing with multiple clips. It's just like, here's the last 4 minutes that you get to watch all over again. This one's actually like a montage, and it's awesome. It's the way, like, it just sets you up for this movie better than those recaps. I don't care for the recaps. Even Joseph Zito doesn't care for the recaps. He said in his commentary, like, I was against it, but they wanted it. And yeah, this movie just has the best everything. Best characters, best kills, hottest chicks, most nudity, best Jason, everything. And I like that they do the callback to like Jenny taking down Jason by like tricking him. They do the same thing here with Tommy Jarvis shaving his head very quickly somehow. And they do the same thing almost without directly ripping it off. There's no sweater involved. He's just like, hey, I'm you as a kid. He's like tricking him and whatnot. Awesome. A little callback to part 2. If I had any like mixed thoughts on this movie, it's the character Rob. He has like these newspaper clippings, and it's confusing because this movie takes place like 4 or 5 days, maybe 6 at the most. I mean, because I do know like each movie is like 2 days. Like by the beginning of the movie and end of the movie is always like within 2 days. So this is like a week at the most after part 2, and his sister's been dead for like 4 to 6 days, and he's got all these like clippings of that week. And then he's just like hell bent. He already knows she's dead. He knows who's responsible. He's just out there, and he does nothing. He's got all these gadgets. He's got a gun, machete, and all these other tools that they didn't use because they looked fake supposedly. He was gonna have like these infrared like goggles, binoculars, but Joseph Zito said that all the props that they were given looked stupid and fake, so they never got to use them. But seeing this character die so quick too, like, I don't know, I'm kind of mixed on that. I wish we could have got to see like him fight a little bit, just a little bit more. That would be my only mixed thought. But like I said, no negatives for this movie. Final thoughts. When it comes to slashers, you can't go wrong here. If you are a slasher fan, this is a must-watch. It has everything you would want in a slasher. It's got an intimidating, iconic villain, and it's the best hockey mask, in my opinion, and all of them. And it's got one of the best portrayals of Jason. It's got some of the best characters, the dialogue, the chicks, the nudity. all of it. Everything is just, like I said, firing all cylinders. Everything is perfect in this movie. I had such a blast with it. It's got a fantastic final chase, a great final girl who fights back a lot more than I remembered. So when it comes to Friday the 13th Part 4, the final chapter, this to me is a slasher movie masterpiece. Alright, it's time for the spoiler discussion. I got my Cavity Colors Friday the 13th Part 4 shirt on. Let's do this. So we get the opening recap, and it's only like 3 minutes long this time. It's not as long as the first two. And we get the opening logo thing. In Part 2 it exploded. And this one, it explodes again. You got the mask coming in, and then boom, final chapter. And one thing I noticed on this viewing, it's such a small thing, it's not even worth mentioning, but I will. The sound effect that they use when the final chapter, like text comes in, it sounds just like the harpoon in Part 3 when it kills Vera and goes through her eye. If you listen to them back to back, it sounds the same. It's the same sound effect of the words coming in and the harpoon. Same sound, I guarantee it. Joseph Zito wanted the mask to split open, but they couldn't do it for some reason, budget, time, whatever. So it just kind of disappears and boom. And then I noticed this. Okay, so Part 3, when it ends and Chris is getting carted off and she's going all crazy, it's daytime. It's like the morning. And the cops are there. Jason's right there. But in this movie, it's like 12 hours later. It's night. It took them that long to bag up the bodies? Does it really take that long to put a blanket over Jason? And I like how they not only not check a pulse, but they decide to pull a Halloween H2O and Resurrection where they decide to bring Jason's body to the morgue with his mask on still. Why would they do that? They would take that off. They would check a pulse. He's not dead. He's clearly breathing. Because when they bring him to the morgue, you can see that shot and he starts moving in the bag or whatnot. And apparently, that was a mistake. That wasn't supposed to be there. He called cut, and then Ted White started to move, but then the editors say, let's keep that, let's put that in there. And then we meet Axel, and he's eating food on top of dead body. He puts his donut on a body. He doesn't care. He's talking about how hot that dead body is back there. And then we get his iconic rant.
Jesus Christmas! Holy Jesus goddamn! Holy Jesus jumping Christmas shit!
And apparently he went on for minutes. They had all kinds of footage of that rant, and they chose the cleanest version they could get. And that's what we got. Axel, you are the Super Bowl of self-abuse. So, yeah, these opening kills are amazing. Jason breathing in the icebox. He sneaks out quietly, doesn't make a sound somehow. Puts the freaking saw to his neck. Twists his head 180 degrees. Awesome. And, I wish we could have got a couple more seconds of the initial hacking. But MPAA doing their thing, and then gets the other girl, slices her open, from chest all the way to belly button, slicing her wide open. Great kill. Great opening kills for this movie. And then we meet the Jarvises. They're running around the lake. They've been living here for a while now. The dad's separated, I guess. I never knew where the dad was growing up, but they're separated, in case you were wondering. She tells Tommy to get a haircut. That's clearly foreshadowing the end when he cuts his hair like that. Who cuts their hair? How can you do that? I know I'm jumping ahead, but that's amazing how quickly Tommy is able to get his hair wet. He tapes the pictures of Jason to the mirror so he can do a side-by-side comparison. And he just shaves his head in 5 seconds. Bullshit. It would take forever to cut your hair like that. So whatever. And then we meet our other characters, the main cannon fodder people that are going to get picked off one by one. Crispin Glover, Ted, Paul, and Sam, and Sarah, and Doug from, Hell Night with Linda Blair. They're having that conversation about BJ Betty and the computer don't lie. And then we see Pamela's tombstone, and it says 1984. No, it says 1979. And this is 5 years later, and this movie was released in 84, so it actually lines up. So if that was 79, this is 5 years later, it actually is, 1984. So I like that they actually pay attention to the continuity. Pamela did die in 79, because that's when that movie was shot and made, the first one. And part 2, 3, and 4 take place 5 years later. So, and then we get this hitchhiker. She's this movie's Annie, except nowhere near as adorable. We don't get to hear her talk at all. And I love that line, like, "Hey, honey, you got a sister? Rough, rough. Canada or love." Then she turns it and says, "Fuck you." And then she gets like the knife right through the back of the throat. And when that's Tom Savini performing that kill, and you can hear Tom grunting. Like, it's, Jason grunting really loud. If you listen to it, it's like, just stabbing her right in the throat. I just love that shot of the banana like falling over. It's just hilarious. It's like dark humor. And then Tommy gets to see all kinds of girls naked, not only when he goes to the lake, but also later on when he sees them across the street undressing, and he has that legit reaction that kids would have where he's just going nuts. He doesn't know what to do with himself, with his body. He's like, "What do I do?" He's just like shaking and like banging his head against the pillow. It's just a genuine child reaction to seeing naked girls across the street. And we get the typical skinny dipping scene, except this time, instead of one girl getting naked, we get a whole group. We get guy ass too, in case, for the ladies out there. You get to see some guy butt from Ted and Paul, the double mint twins. They just, it's so funny, like how quick they just like jump in their group. They're like a part of their clique now. They're like, "Hey, who are you?" And they're like, "Look, we're going to hang out with you, and then we're going to try to spend the night and fuck you." It's just so quick. So then I don't get this prank at all. I think it was just a editing thing maybe, or they didn't have time to shoot all of it, but it doesn't make sense that Sarah is talking to Sam, and Sam's like, "If you don't skinny dip, I'm going to go underwater and drown myself." And then Sarah believes her. Like, Sam goes down, a few seconds goes by, and Sarah's like, "Oh my gosh, is she actually drowning herself?" And she's like looking in the water like, "Sam, come back." Like, do you really think she's drowning herself? Like, that scene makes no sense. I can't really like put myself in her shoes. Like, what is she thinking? It's only been like 10 seconds. Does she think she's drowning down there? Does she think that she got stuck on something? Explain that scene to me. I just feel like there's something missing there that we don't get to see. So, anyways, Tommy is multifaceted. He can do all kinds of stuff. He can not only build masks and do practical effects, and he's good at video games, but he also can fix cars. He's like, "We gotta fix the solenoid." He knows all these terms for cars and whatnot. So I like how he takes Rob, the Jason Hunter, home. They just met, and he is like, "Hey, Mom, I'm gonna take this stranger upstairs." And the mom's like, "Who are you?" All right, fine, whatever. Hang out with my son alone in his bedroom." The guy with a knife in his boot. And then we get the iconic Crispin Glover dance, and apparently behind the scenes he was dancing to Back in Black, but instead he's dancing to like some other song, and then they start listening to like Tangerine. But his dance is hilarious, and that's like how he danced in real life at the clubs in Hollywood at that time. It is hysterical, that dance. It's like he's having a seizure. And even like the actors in the background, you can see them laughing. Like they're like, holy, like it took them by surprise. We get this like love triangle, the double mint twin girl. I call them pink pants and white pants. That's the only way you can like differentiate from them. Like, who's who? Pink pants and white pants. Pink pants is the slut. White pants wants to go home. And I like how she wants to go home at night when it's raining. It's like, if that was me, fuck it. We're already here. We've been here all day. Let's bunk here. I'm pretty sure there's plenty of room. But she's going to go off in the woods, pouring down rain, on her bicycle in the woods. Like, you can't see. Like, how are you going to get back home? So her, like, wanting to leave so bad makes no sense. Like, her wanting to actually, like, go out in the woods and whatnot. Like, she could just stay. Just stay. But yeah, her sister's a bitch. She's, like, going from guy to guy. She breaks up this couple. Paul, he's an idiot. I mean, Sam says earlier, like, I keep him around because I'm good in bed and I just keep fucking his brains out. She doesn't say it like that, but so she's banging him all the time, and he's still just, for some reason, is like all over this double mint twin girl, Tina, like clearly flirting with her in front of his girlfriend who bangs him all the time. So Paul is a dick, and ironically gets a harpoon to the dick. And we get to see Jason's brute strength when he's like lifting him all the way up in the air, and he shoots the harpoon right through his dick. The harpoon gun makes an appearance quite a bit in this franchise. 3, 4, and then part 8. So not only is the machete his iconic weapon, but I think the harpoon gun is a close second. And then we get another skinny dipping scene when Sam sees that her dipshit boyfriend Paul is, clearly cheating on her or, laying eyes on another woman. She's like, I'll get him back. So I'll win him over and by skinny dipping. I'll go skinny dipping. So she goes out there and she gets butt ass naked, and which is always nice to see. But it's freezing and she's got hard nips. I couldn't help but notice. And so she swims all the way out to that raft. And why is it just sitting all the way out there? Is it held in place somehow? I'm not a raft person, so I wouldn't know. But to me, it just looks like it's stranded out there. Is it theirs? Why is it so far out? Why wouldn't it already be on shore for you to like get in and then go out? Like, why is it so far out? Just a dumb question I have. But yeah, she goes out there. She thinks Paul is out there coming to win her, like, apologize. And then we get the Kevin Bacon kill, except now she's on her stomach and it goes right through her back, and that look on her face and her screaming. Awesome. Terrifying. It just sounds painful. They find all this black and white silent porn, which is just a hilarious concept that even that exists, apparently. Like, that's real porn they're watching. Apparently, porn's been around for much longer than I thought. There's all kinds of black and white porn, silent. And they're like dancing naked, and then like the words come on the screen like help or something. Harder, harder. I don't know. It's just funny. Like, they're just watching it. They're laughing at it. Like, it's not even for like pleasure. They're like getting stoned and just laughing at it. It's not even like to get them hard. They're just laughing at silent porn. And that actor, Ted, I'm not sure what his real name is. I think he's Nick Savage, something like that. Ted, the character behind the scenes, he got high. He really got high. He got into character, method acting. And when you look at his eyes, you can tell he got stoned for that role. The one twin just settles for Crispin Glover. She's like, all right, Paul's not going to screw me. I don't want Ted. And then she goes for Crispin Glover, which I like because it's like a ha-ha to Ted because he was all about Pink Pants. And now Pink Pants is going with Crispin. And then they go on the bed and it like breaks. And supposedly, like, that might have been an accident on set that wasn't supposed to break, but it just did. Oh, I would also like to point out, so yeah, Jason can swim. Huh. He's out there killing not only Sam, but also Paul. I thought Jason was afraid of water. That's what Freddy vs. Jason taught me. Nuh-uh. So, no, he's not afraid of water. He can swim, damn it. So right after he kills Paul with the harpoon, Rob walks like maybe 50 feet from his tent. All right, give or take. And he looks back, and then Jason is already in his tent. He sees him. He goes in and has all this time to break every single gadget that he has at his, in his bag, and snaps the gun in half, rips up his map and whatnot. And then, like, by the time he gets there, he's gone. Like, how did he lose him? Like, the way it's edited together, it's like, how did you lose him? He was right there, 50 feet from you. All you had to do was sprint back to your tent, and you could have fought Jason right then. But, of course, he just, teleports away. And then we get, like, the mom dying. Joseph Zito didn't want to show her die. Maybe it was just a matter of taste. Maybe he didn't want to show the mom dying so brutally. She's just an innocent mom. She doesn't deserve it. I do like that shot of the one girl, like, getting hit in the back, and it's, like, the lightning effect. It's, like, a silhouette. That's a cool creative kill. If you're not going to go gory, go creative. Go visually. And that's a good visual kill. After he kills Crispin Glover, he goes downstairs, even though she said not to. She's like, I'm going to go do whatever, and then we're going to have sex again. She wants to do him again. But he goes downstairs real quick to gloat, goes in the kitchen. Where's the corkscrew? Bam! There it is. Meat cleaver right to the fucking face. And he's the world's quietest he's the world's quietest person when it comes to dying. He doesn't make a single noise. When he gets the corkscrew in his hand, he just looks at it like, it's like, you're not going to scream because it's convenient. You don't want to alert other people that death is happening right around the corner. But right after Crispin Glover dies, Jason, for some reason, ignores Ted, who's right in the other room watching porn, goes outside, finds a way upstairs on like this balcony, and then waits for Tina, Pink Pants, to go up to the window, and then grabs her and throws her right in the car, and then like all the windows shatter open. It's a great looking, like, action-like kill. It's cool. It's much better than the car throw. Actually, there's no car involved at all. It's much better than that throw kill in part 7, where the one chick gets thrown out the window and she just plops on the ground. This is much better. But it's just odd to think, like, okay, so you ignore Ted, you go upstairs, and you just know someone's going to walk up to a window at some point? It's just odd when you think about it logistically. Like, what the hell is Jason thinking? Why is he up there waiting? Like, how did he get up there? But then he does kill Ted, but he like cuts the reel of the Super 8mm thing. He cuts it, walks around, stabs him through the back of the projector, and he like falls straight down, which is a little bit unrealistic. Because if you think about it, if somebody got stabbed in the back of the head, I don't think they would just fall straight down. They would just fall forward. They would collapse. I don't know. They don't fall straight down. Whatever. Little nitpick. Whatever. So then we get the couple having sex in the shower. We get the body double, ass pressed up against the glass. And she leaves. You know, she thinks she's in love. And she's like the final girl of this group. Like, she was the innocent one. She was like the virgin. She was the nervous one. But then she caves in and has sex, and now she is up for grabs. She gets killed right after. But Doug, man, he's in the shower. Whoops, dropped my bar of soap. You want to help me pick it up, old buddy, old pal? And then he just shuts him up and just pushes like glass in his face, holding him up against the wall. Some of the best kills in this franchise, honestly, are just the ones with Jason's hands. Like a Victor Crowley kill. Rip his head open. But yeah, he just pushes his head up against the glass, and just the way the face looks and the sound design of his head getting crushed. It's one of my favorite kills in this franchise. And then the other girl sees the body, runs downstairs, acts through the door. Again, logistically thinking about it, so Jason ignored her in the other room, went downstairs, shut the door, was outside, and was like, come on down the stairs, bitch, I'm waiting for you. And then like just went right through I mean, come on. Just thinking about these movies logistically just makes me laugh. Then we find out that Rob sis was Sandra, the girl who got killed with the spear in part 2, and he's out for revenge, but he does not get it at all. But like I said, like continuity-wise, like how many days later is this? I think it's like, you know, because part 2 starts on Friday the 13th, then it like ends on the 15th actually, when she's like, Paul, that's the 15th. So this is like the 19th maybe. Like this is like the 18th or 19th. So this is like a Wednesday or a Thursday, like the following week. So has it been enough time for him to get these newspapers and whatnot? I don't know. Maybe. It's a little bit of a stretch. But he does say something that's interesting. He goes, there's bodies missing from the morgue. So that means that Jason, he took Axel's body and the other chick? Why? What would he do with those bodies? They never found them? That's just odd. So then Trish and Rob, they go next door, and this is like the one shot that connects the house to the other house, so you actually know for a fact that they built this whole house next to the Jarvis house for this movie. But they go inside, there's no bodies anywhere, and then they immediately go in the basement, Rob does, and Gordon sees like all kinds of carnage somewhere. He finds the bodies, and he's like, fuck this shit. I'm out. He runs. Was he thrown? I don't think so, but he just jumps right through the window like, I'm out of here, bitch. And then we never see him again. Is he dead? I don't know. But, so yeah, they go through the door. There's no bodies there on that porch. They go downstairs. Jason starts attacking them. And then Rob's like, he's killing me. He's killing me. He has like this cultivator, like 3-pronged gardening tool. I think it's called like a cultivator. He's hitting him a bunch with it, and he's dying. She runs back upstairs, and then for some reason runs right back down, like, I'll help you this time. It's too late, bitch. And then she's hitting Jason's hand a bunch with the machete over and over and over again, runs upstairs. There's a body. Where did that body come from? How did Jason do that? Like, he's in the basement. Is there another way in? Is there another way out of there? Like, because they go right inside, they go straight to the basement. There's no time for Jason to somehow sneak past them, drop the body on the porch, and then run back down to the basement to attack Rob. It makes no sense. How did Tina's body get on that porch? I want to know. But then Trish makes one of the dumbest decisions ever, and it's basically like a little callback to, to Tina in part 1. I think where she like finds Annie's body in the car. She's like, oh no, there's a body in here, which means I can't drive it. And then so in this movie, Trish, she sees Tina on the porch, and she's like, oh no, there's a body. I can't walk this way no more. Even though like 5 minutes later, when Jason's chasing her, she jumps right over that body. It's not a problem now. So that's just a dumb little thing that I have to point out. Like, she can't jump over that body. She can't walk around it, really. And then she sees Crispin Glover's body. He's, like, crucified to the door. And then she's like, oh, I can't sneak underneath him. So she breaks the window out. And somehow, between all of that happening, Jason hasn't walked up the stairs and caught up with her at that point. Have to point that out, too. So she escapes. She goes next door. And this whole final act, this whole final chase is awesome. It's almost just as good. Like, I go back and forth. Is it better than the final chase in 3 or not? Part 3 in this movie have the best final chases ever. She goes back to her house, hammering the nails, as if that's going to stop him, and we get yet another body being thrown through the window in part 2. Was there 1 and 2? I don't think there was. In part 1, there was Brenda. In part 2, there was Jason. And then part 3, there was Rick. And now we got Rob. And he's still got, like, the prong, the triple pronged thing stabbed in his shoulder. But another thing, I'm sorry, I have to do this. So we see Jason, he goes to the door and he just rips Crispin's, Jimbo's body from the door. I love that. Like, we see his hand, like the flesh rips off. Awesome. So we establish that Jason's leaving the house with nothing, but yet somehow got the body of Rob to throw through the window. Like, I thought, see what I mean? I mean, how did he do that? So I guess he quickly ran back after he tore down the body. He was like, oh shit, maybe I should go back and get Rob's body, and then I'll throw it through the window. And then he goes through the other window. He's grabbing a hold of Corey Feldman's character, and then Tommy Jarvis, and then she's hitting him with a hammer over and over and over again, uses the claw. And then at this moment, you can see like the chevron marks are missing now. There's only like half of one. Dumb thing to point out, but I noticed it. I've never noticed that before. I've always thought there was 3. There is in part 3, but in this one, there's only 1. So he bursts through that door like a fucking like a wrecking ball, like he's Miley Cyrus. He just goes in, boom, bursts that door wide open, and he like throws the hammer, and it like sticks into the wall. And then we get this awesome tense moment where they have to walk by the body. Cliche. This is a moment that's in a lot of movies. We have to like walk by the body. And I like this moment because it's like Jason has to choose like a victim now. He's never had to choose. He's usually after one person, he can just pick them off. But in this one, he's like, oh shit, do I go for the boy? I'm going to go for the teenager because that's more up my alley. So he chases Trish. He goes right back to the other house. They go from house to house to house over and over and over again. I love that shot of like him in the doorway. He's like just standing there, 6'4", just a tall hulking frame, runs up the stairs, chases her up, and then she pulls a Gordon, and she's like, fuck this shit, I'm out. And she jumps right through the window as well. And it's just a very tense final chase. And then she wakes up, runs back to the house again. She gets that machete, she's hacking at Jason, slices his hand wide open, hits him in the chest. Just a great final girl. She's fighting back. She makes a couple of dumbass decisions, I pointed them out, but she fights back. And at least in this movie, she doesn't go mentally crazy at the end like Chris. So she's a stronger final girl. She's sacrificing herself for a brother. She's like, I'm going to go draw him away. You run like hell. That's what you want in a final girl. Someone who's willing to put their life on the line, protect their brother, and fight like hell. She doesn't, and even when he has her pinned down, she's putting up one hell of a fight. Usually they just sit there like, oh no, but she's like hitting him all over again. She's like lifting her knees up. She's doing everything she can to survive. So Trish is a damn good final girl, and I would even say she's better than Jenny. Call me crazy, but I like her more. And then we get Tommy. He shaves his head very quick, and then he pulls the Ginny move. He's like, Jason! I like that shot of him like walking from the shadows into the light, and then there's even like a little bit of blood dripping down his mask, if you look closely. Just a great shot, him coming out of the shadows. We get the mask getting knocked off his face. We get the face reveal, which is something that's in every single movie, the face reveal. This is one of the best, one of the most iconic, the slow motion shot. Mask hits the ground, get the awesome face, and then he starts attacking her once more, but then Tommy saves the day and lodges it right to the side of the face, and he falls down right on it. Awesome kill. Very brutal, very disgusting. And then his finger is twitching, and Tom is not going to waste any time. He's not going to take any chances. He's like, fuck this. Pushes his sister away. Die! Die! And that's what I've always wanted in all these other movies. Like, why can't we get someone like that? That's what we need more. someone who's not gonna take chances and is like, I'm gonna make sure this fucker's dead. He is beating the shit out of Jason with that machete. And then it's hinted at that maybe he's crazy. You know, Trish is at the hospital, they're hugging, they're like bonding, you know, whew, we made it. And then his eyes open, and now he's crazy maybe. If they would have went that direction, that would have been nice to see what they could have done with that, like crazy Tommy. But yeah, that's the end of the movie. So let's get into my award ceremony, shall we? The Funny Bone Award for funniest moment easily goes to Axel. Jesus, jumping Christmas shit. And the best shot in this movie, there's a lot of them, but I'll go with the shot of Jason walking towards Tommy with the blood streaming down his mask. And the clap award for best scene will go to the final chase where Jason chases Trish across the street, and we get to see that Jason, in fact, does run. And he chases her up the stairs, she jumps out the window, all fantastic, all suspenseful, and all wonderful. And the hottest chick in this movie, there's quite a few to pick from, but I'm gonna go with Sam, the girlfriend of Paul, and the best character in this movie, to me, is Axel. Just that jumping Jesus Christmas shit thing, and just him watching that weird dance class on TV. He is just a wonderful character. And the worst character in this movie, to me, Mr. Hanky Award, is Paul. You do not cheat on Sam. She is gorgeous. How could you break such a heart? She bangs you all the time. Fuck you, Paul. The best kill in this movie, to me, is Axel. I love the fact that it's like a double tap. He gets his throat slit, and then he gets his head twisted all the way around. And the worst kill in this movie will be Mrs. Jarvis. She's the one cutaway kill that we never see at all. So that's the end of my thoughts on Friday the 13th, the final chapter. Put all your thoughts of this movie in the comments below, things I might have missed, or some explanations that I need that I was asking for earlier. And where would you put this in your ranking, whatnot, let me know. And thank you so much for joining me tonight. If you like what you've seen here, you can hit this like button, share with all your friends, and you can become a Patreon for as little as $1 a month to request movie reviews like this. And you can become a subscriber if you haven't done so already, just by clicking on my cartoon face in about 5 seconds. And until next time, auf Wiedersehen.